Welcome to the Patient Attraction Podcast. I've got Dr. Howard Farran here with me today. I appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you.
It's an honor.
Well, thank you. So I hear you're doing some comedy club stuff in your spare time.
You know, it's always been a hobby of mine. I've just always loved, when I was in college, I used to do any open mic night. And I think when I lecture, I get a lot of that, my comedy yah-yahs out. But sometimes when I'm back home, you know, I always like to hit the local clubs.
That's fun. That's fun. We went down to a local club, wife and I, and I've never been a lot into them. But, you know, we go down there occasionally and see who's on stage, and it's always for a good night. Makes for a good time.
And it's funny for me because when I do comedy clubs in, you know, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Mesa, Tempe, all those cities, they always sit there and say, "Oh my God, you're the cleanest act. You don't say the F word. You don't say anything. You know, you're just a 52-year-old grandpa. You're the cleanest act in town." And all the other comedians are all vulgar. Then when I go into dentistry with that exact same mojo act, now I'm the wildest guy speaker in dentistry. So it's all context. You know, what you can say to a guy at church versus in a fishing boat are just two different mediums.
Yeah. So you're still practicing.
I am, and I think that's I think when you don't have to do something, then you just do it for love. I mean, I don't have to do. I mean, my 4 boys are raised. I got a 3-year-old granddaughter. You know, I got a dental magazine, a website. I like to lecture, but so now I don't have to do anything, and now it's 10 times more fun because, you know, I want to, and also we're the only media company. Dentaltown's the only media company that's actually owned by a real live, short, fat, bald dentist, and I think that keeps it real. I think, you know, a lot of things, you know, I won't talk about anything unless we use it in our office. When we use it in our office, we buy it with our own money. I think it's a really good, keeping it real, keeping it fun. And, you know, a lot of stuff that flies across my desk, you should do this or advertise this or whatever. And I'll show it to my, you know, dental assistant who's been with me 28 years, Jan. And she's rolling her eyes and I'm rolling my eyes. Like, we don't want to help promote something that's we don't think is good for.
Really grounded in the trenches, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing in marketing in your practice. What are you finding to be successful?
Well, I think marketing is pretty interesting. I think what I like to focus most on is the organic growth. I think since women make 9 out of 10 appointments, women, if you lose their trust, they're not going to like you, they're not going to love you, they're not going to come see you, they're not going to stay married to you. Trust is everything with women. And when they come in off blind marketing, they don't know you yet, they don't trust you yet. And if you get 100 new people that can't pick you out of a police lineup, maybe only 20% are going to buy something. But if they are referred by a friend or a loved one, and if my friend Megan tells me to go to you, I already trust you, so now I'm far more likely to buy. So I like to focus on the organic stuff, like I tell dentists all the time, they don't answer half of their incoming calls. I mean, there's 168 hours in a week. They're only open 32 hours a week. That's only 19% of 168. So half the calls come in before 8 o'clock or after 5 o'clock.
Or on the hour lunch break.
Yeah, or on the hour lunch break. So and these are mostly organic calls. These are mostly someone who came in your office 5 years ago. My neighbor just told me to call you. And I firmly believe that if you own a Chinese restaurant or a pizza delivery or a dental office, if a Chinese delivery all of a sudden gets twice as many phone calls, what will happen to its sales?
Explode.
It'll double.
Yeah.
And the dentist doesn't answer half his calls. I firmly believe if those dentists got a digital phone system so they knew every incoming call, what the phone number was, the name attached, and spread out their receptionist to cover more. I mean, look at it as a funnel. You don't have to make fillings, root canals, and crowns, 60, 70 hours a week. But as far as the funnel, catching those incoming organic calls, when you take the front desk and you split them out and you say, okay, instead of 2 girls Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5 with an hour lunch, 12 to 1, but I'm going to have Susie come in at 6 and have her do lunch 11 to 1 and leave at 2:30. And I'm going to have Amy come in at 9:30, do lunch 1 to 2, stay till 6. If I can widen that net and get more people, I see the front desk as sales and marketing. And the dentist, they always have more staff helping the dentist make the hamburger, fry, and the Coke than up front. And when you're understaffed up front and you answer every phone call, can you please hold? and then you
Yeah.
don't know why.
Then they hang up.
And
Yeah.
and then you don't know why you don't have any revenue.
We've always seen the phone call trends on a 24-hour day, and 11 to 2 is the hot area. I mean, that's when most of your calls are coming, or not most, but the highest volume by hour, 11 to 2. And so many offices I see, that's when they take their lunch. Nobody's there. I 100% agree with you on that.
And
there's so much lost opportunity.
And firemen don't get a pick of lunch. Police officers don't get a pick of lunch. Emergency rooms don't get a pick of lunch. And I don't know what this mentality is in dentistry that we all. I mean, I see offices that have a no-show from 11 to 12, get an emergency call or walk in 11:30, and they say, "Well, we can't see you now because we're going to lunch at 12." It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather work through lunch and then just figure, well, maybe my 1 o'clock won't show.
Yeah.
And being a fat boy, I could stand to miss a meal because these are future meals already eaten.
Bird in hand is better than bird in the bush. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just in the CEO is the culture. The mafia, you say the fish rots from the head down.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see all these attitudes, cultures, customs, beliefs of an office or a business, it starts with the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And if the doctor is the last one to work and the first one to go to lunch and the last one to come back from lunch and the first one to leave before 5, no one cares. But when that doctor's the first one in there, and when that doctor says at the morning huddle, "Yeah, I'll go through lunch." I mean, look at emergency room. Treat other people like you want to be treated. When you go to an emergency room, you don't want to walk in an emergency room where it says, "Oh, it's dinner time. We're all leaving."
Yeah.
We just get her done.
How much of your time do you spend administratively or doing marketing in the practice?
Well, everybody has a different management style, and you gotta do what you like and enjoy. And my management style has always been, find the very best people and get out of their way. So I look at my business as the same as an NFL football team because the NFL player roster is 50. I got 50 employers. I own the football team, but I got a head coach. I got an office manager. And during the middle of a game, you don't see the owner calling the head coach and calling in plays. You don't see the owner getting involved with recruitment or saying, "Get this wide receiver." You got to find a coach. You got to find an office manager, and you got to give them authority and responsibility to do their job. You can't go around them, and you can't have an office manager tell your 4 assistants this is how it's going to be, and then your assistants have been with you 15 to 28 years come whine to you and say, "Yeah, that's not right. I'm going to go tell the office manager no." I let them vent, and then I say, "Well, did you tell the office manager? What happened there?" But I think I see business as an orchestra. I mean, I have my back to the customers.
Mm-hmm.
I have my little deals, and I'm not going to learn how to play the piano. I'm going to hire someone to play the piano. I'm not going to learn how to play a tuba. I'm going to hire someone to play the tuba.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Steve Thorne. He didn't even go to dental school, and he owns 500 offices. He thought, hell, it's a lot easier to hire a dentist than to go to dental school.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Thorne ought to be a poster child of the fact that, the people who have the biggest, most profitable office in the world, they're not even dentists. They don't even do dentistry. So, get an office manager. Get out of their way. When you spend all your time doing an MOD composite and you spend no time on tracking incoming calls, tracking marketing, making sure, but like someone doesn't come to their appointment, and so many dentists just say, "Wow, it's a no-show. I can't believe that idiot. They just made the appointment yesterday."
Yeah.
Well, why don't you reach out? What if they were in a car wreck? What if their dog died? What if something happened?
Life happens.
Yeah, life happens, and life is filled with chaos. And focusing on, I focus on. I believe the key to any service business, the key to an iPhone is the product. Mm-hmm. This iPhone is an amazing product, and I don't know a single face behind this product, but we're in a service. And a service is all about relationships, so it's about keeping the best long-term relationship employees, mm-hmm. and they'll hold long-term relationships with your customers. And I like to focus on a lot of the stuff you do where, what is the new patient experience? When they call, do we answer it on the site before 2 or 3 rings? And do we have 5 minutes to spend? Mm-hmm. Or is it goes to voicemail, or can you please hold? Mm-hmm. When someone doesn't show, do we touch them back? Humans, if you think math and chemistry and geometry is complex, my God, meet a human.
Yeah.
Humans are the most complex thing that I've ever even thought of. Your patient charts is it looks like the bar scene in Star Wars. I mean, they're just freaks of all natures, and some people, their fuse is this long, and some people don't talk, and some won't shut up. I mean, so getting, the people skills is always going to win, not your dental skills. It's going to always be the people skills, and how you manage, those new patient experience. You get mature in the office, to when they walk in, do you stand up and say, hey, and call my name, and it's
Wow.
just, yeah, wow.
Wow, cool. What have you found to give you the best return in the marketing world? Internal marketing, external marketing? Where's your best return been for time or money spent?
I would say it's always going to be internal marketing, because again, it's a relationship business. We sell invisible. Nobody knows. When I take my car into Lexus, I don't know if I need an oil change or the transmission fluid change. When they tell me this and that, and you just got to look at them and say, well, I trust the brand. You're in a uniform. You have a name tag. This dealership's been here 25 years. It's all trust. So I think by keeping long-term staff, you'll keep long-term patients, and I would rather ask a patient when I'm done working on you and say, hey, John, I haven't had any dentistry done in 25 years because I brush and floss every morning, I brush and floss every night, I get my teeth cleaned every 3 to 6 months. I'm done working on you. If you do what the hygienists say, and you do what they do, I'll never see you again. Do you personally know anybody that might need, a dentist like me? If I gave you some cards, you know anybody? Hell, 9 times out of 10, human will say, you know what, my buddy Joe at work, we just got dental insurance at work, and my buddy Joe asked me who my dentist was. Like, yeah, I'll send Joe down here.
Yeah.
And I think that dentists don't ask for that because it takes humility. It takes humility, and when the public describes physicians, dentists, and lawyers, the word humility does not make the top 100.
No. We do a lot of video shoots and shooting patient testimonials for docs. And every doctor we talk to says, I don't know any patients that are going to come in. I don't know how I'm going to fill my schedule up with patients. And I don't know that we've ever had an empty schedule. I mean, patients are so willing to recommend and help. All you got to do is ask. Humility, just ask, or, have a little bit of, human contact. And, everybody's very happy to recommend when they have a good experience.
And it's also found to be biologically hardwired. There's a book written by one of my MBA teachers at ASU called The Reciprocal Factor, the Reciprocity, or what was that name of that book? And but basically, we're pack animals: dogs, cats, monkeys, apes, humans. And there's a science that when I give you a gift, as a social animal, you're hardwired to want to return the gift. That's why so many business people want to take you to lunch. Because what they're playing on is a biological deal where, well, if I take you to lunch and then you say, hey, I want to be your farmer's insurance agent and insure your car, you just feel as a social pack animal that I should return the favor. So you're hardwired to return the favor. So when you actually ask a human, by the way, do you know anybody you could refer to my practice? They're hardwired biological at birth.
Are you familiar with Cialdini? Robert Cialdini?
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's your okay,
That's
yeah.
the guy. What was the name of that
Influence.
book? Influence.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, Influence.
Great, fantastic book.
Yeah, he was my teacher at MBA school.
Really?
Yeah, I live in Phoenix, and he teaches at ASU. That's where I got my MBA in 98, 99.
Wow.
He's
That's
an amazing
incredible.
guy. Yeah, that's in like 5th edition because
Yeah.
it's hardcore science. Another thing he talked about that they discovered is you always see, now that I'm a grandpa, so I see how my 25-year-olds, talking to my 3-year-old, it's silly that I had to go to school 8 years to be a dentist, but there's no training to be a parent. And humans routinely talk to babies in a 5, 10, 20,000 word vocabulary, and this baby doesn't even know 20, 30 words. And one of the first things a baby human learns is that the minute you say because, they know they're going to have to do it. They say, I want this. No, because, and everything else is wah, 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 like on Lucy and Charles, and wah, wah, because they don't know any of those words. So when he was the first guy that could measure that. When you say, you need to get a root canal because, the minute you said because, it flipped a switch unconsciously, and they already know they have to do the root canal. So, so asking for influence, asking for reciprocity, using the word because, it's the most powerful word in humans,
Huh. Very cool. Very interesting. I've never heard that. I've
Of course,
read all
now
his
no
books.
one
but
now no one would say because now that we're texters, it's just because.
BC.
Right? Yeah, BC,
Yeah.
BC or CUZ.
Yep. Yep. So what's something that people might not know about you that you'd share with the viewers today?
Then I'm actually tall, dark, and handsome. Almost everyone does not know that about me, but it's actually true. What would you say? What is something that people don't know about me?
The comedy club.
The comedy club, that might
Yep.
be a fun. And I think that the comedy club is also an interesting perspective on life because life's tough. And a lot of dentists will tell me a story like I've seen dentists their practice is burned out because they lost a 6-year-old to leukemia or they went through a divorce or this or that, and sometimes people will just tell you this hard story and they want an answer, and the answer is life's tough. It's tough. No one gets out alive. And so a lot of times, and I like that Kansas atmosphere. Like in Kansas, it was amazing. Those were just some of the toughest people. When there was a tornado, I grew up there, and a tornado would come through a farm town and literally erase a town of 5,000.
Yeah.
And at 8 o'clock the next morning, what do they all do?
Did you hear about in Indiana, the tornado a couple of years ago that wiped out a whole high school? That was 2 miles from my office. I mean, it was devastating. They sent, it was prom season. Had a big prom dress drive because all those kids in high school had no prom dresses. Nowhere to hold a prom. I mean, it was just...
And what did they do? Did they
pull together?
And they
Everybody
just
pulled together.
rebuilt it.
They rebuilt it.
Hey, you don't sit there and say, well, we tried to have a school and a tornado took it out. So life's tough. People are tough. And then that's another thing I would really I try to coach the staff on. A lot of times the staff, the first impression of this patient coming in, this new patient coming in, you're seeing a not good side of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I always am reminding my team, you have no idea what they're going through. He could have just got off the phone and lost his grandpa. You don't know, or his dad. You have no idea. So always giving everybody a break. That's why I like comedy. Life's an attitude. And when someone just comes in there and just being a horrible person, I always vision them as a 1-year-old baby, and they're crying because they need change, they're hungry, they're sleepy, someone stole their toy. Mm-hmm. We're all just big babies, and you don't know what anybody's going through, and just cut them a lot of slack and give them a lot of love and a lot of smiles, and you'll build a successful practice.
Killer. Great advice. I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.